my first.
It's your first Seattle.
It's my first time in Seattle.
Nice!
I've driven through here twice, and I've marveled at the beauty of the city, and I have proof, I definitely rooted for the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. But I've never been here.
Welcome. I love Seattle, and one of the fun things about Seattle is there's a lot of speakeasies, so I don't know if you're going out tonight.
I'm going for steak tonight.
Nice. So I'm sure everyone has a ton of questions for Stephen. You can go ahead and line up at the mics. We'll get to you guys in a few minutes, and we'll get to as many as we can. But let's talk about your life for a minute here.
Okay. Should I lie down? Or?
You can if you want. Do you feel this is this type of session? Do you need some counseling?
I certainly hope not.
You have a beautiful wife. You have a young baby.
Yep.
You're the star of a show, and yet you find time to engage with your fans. You live tweet your episodes. You're on your Facebook. You're on your Twitter. I mean, how do you do it all? What's the secret?
Well, it's the easiest part of my job, I find. Being on set, once I have my lines memorized, I like to distract myself. I don't want to read like a crime novel or something like that. I scroll through Facebook and I look at Twitter, and you'd think that as I got more friends on Facebook and people following me on Twitter, that it would become more difficult to sort of to weed out the noise and really get to the important messages.
Right.
But as a matter of fact, it's become easier, because when people tell good stories, people share interesting anecdotes, people support good causes, the page, my Facebook page in particular, has become so communal that those things bubble to the top. And I really get a chance to respond and interact, and I love it. It's a really important and enjoyable part of the job.
Absolutely. I mean, it's amazing, and it's amazing for these guys, right? So we'll jump back and forth a little bit, but let's start off with the first question over here.
Hey.
For really quick, I just wanted to say, my mom went through breast cancer radiation treatments, and every Wednesday we'd come home and watch your show, so...
That's great.
It's been an awesome thing.
That's great.
I just want to know, what's one of your favorite episodes that you've done?
I really loved episode 16 in our first season. It was spoiler alert, it was the episode where Tommy found out, and there was a couple really intimate personal scenes at the beginning and the end of the episode that dealt with our friendship, and I loved that episode. I was a huge fan of both Barry Allen episodes this year. I can't explain why, but episode 20 of this season will always be very, I'll never forget that episode.
And just my other one, who's who's one of your favorite actors that you've worked with on the show?
Oh boy.
That's always a tough one.
It's a tough one.
Top three.
Top three? That's even worse, man.
Hey, you had 3 choices.
I will say, I haven't done enough work with John Barrowman yet.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Great questions. Let's go over here.
Hi, I just wanted to say love Arrow, one of the best shows on television. Look forward to it every Wednesday.
Thank you.
My question isn't about Arrow specifically. We've all seen really terrible movies and TV shows. And when I watch them, I often wonder, do the actors at the time know that line is really bad? Or do they just think it's a good line at the time and it's only in retrospect? And I was wondering if you'd ever been in a situation where you had a line or something that the writers had you doing that you just really didn't think was good, and if so, how did you deal with it?
Well, when it comes to Arrow, I usually read a studio draft. So that's two steps before the production draft of the script. It goes studio, network, production. And after I read the studio, I have a conversation with one of our executive producers, and we talk about specific stuff, whether it be dialogue or story points, stage direction, stuff like that. And that's been my experience on Arrow. Previously, on shows that I won't name, I've been coming in as a guest star, but there have been some pretty outlandish lines, and in my experience, you just need to wrap your arms around those lines and make sweet, gentle love to them. And you know what? You also just can't take yourself too seriously. I mean, we're not, this isn't brain surgery. We're not curing cancer. We are trying to entertain people. And if you become too introspective and analytical when it comes to those things, it doesn't do anyone any favors.
About Oliver for a second. You were almost like 4 characters in one, like the spoiled rich kid before, and then stranded, and then, the playboy after. So what was your process when you first approached the character in the script? How did you develop him?
Well, when we had the pilot, everything, one of the things about a pilot is everything is there. You want it to be an episode that you can tell the story, but make people want to watch 150 more episodes. We've done 45, and
that's okay. 105.
We're still learning. When I took on the part, I had a great deal of faith in David Nutter, who is the greatest director of pilots that has ever lived. I mean, he's had 17 pilots go to series out of, I think, 19 pilots that he shot.
It's amazing.
He shot the Red Wedding episode for Game of Thrones. I mean, Smallville, X-Files, Supernatural, Sarah Connor Chronicles, Dark Angel, oh my goodness, The Mentalist. He is prolific, and he just did the Flash pilot. So, when you are dealing with someone who is absolutely, unequivocally the very best at what they do, you just shut up and listen to them.
Yeah.
That was my process. Shut up and listen.
That's a good answer. I like it. Let's go over here.
Nice shirt.
What I'd like to know is what do you see around that hood, I mean, peripheral vision, and second one, what keeps it in place when you're in a fight?
It's a good question.
Good technical question.
It's a really good question. I do lose a little bit of peripheral vision. Not as much as Manu Bennett loses when he puts on the eye patch. He banged his head really hard. In the episode that actually airs this Wednesday when he's getting in a limo, right? So when he's all cool getting in a limo, just know that he almost knocked himself unconscious. The hood, for whatever reason, does not come off when I run. I know that not a lot of people believe this, but then, the first time that we put the hood on, when we were filming episode 15, the first time that I donned the hood on the island, the very first time that I sprinted, it came right off. So I don't know if maybe it's the way that it's fastened to my jacket, but for some reason, it stays on. I don't know why. Maybe I have grippy hair.
Maybe you tilt your head down a little bit.
I might tilt my head down a little bit.
That may help a little.
I filmed last night, this morning until 4:30 in the morning, and I was sprinting along the bridge. And I almost came here straight in my aero costume. I totally screwed that up. I should have done that. But I was sprinting. I was in a full sprint on a bridge in Vancouver, and that freaking hood didn't come off. So I don't know what to tell you.
There you have it. The hoodie stays.
It's a magic hood.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hi. The upcoming Batman Superman movie is rumored to be sort of a launching pad for future Justice League movies. Are you in talks to be in it, and who do all of us talk to make sure you get an actual You will write letters and tweet and Facebook and whatever you need.
You know what, and I do appreciate that. I have expressed my interest. We have a wonderful partnership with DC. They have given us, the ability to say Ra's al Ghul's name on the show, or Raish, as the case may be. the ability to bring in Barry Allen, and some of the people that we have coming in the future, sooner rather than later, is it's a real testament to their faith in our product. I think that producing 23 episodes of television year after year is just as difficult, if not more difficult, than producing a feature film. All that being said, I would want to be involved in it simply from a standpoint of I'm completely overly competitive, and the thought of somebody else playing Oliver Queen makes me want to smash my head through that table. It's very difficult for me to look past, we're filming our 22nd episode of the season right now. Our final 3 episodes are effectively one episode. They take place over the course of one night. Spoiler alert. And it's difficult for me to look past that, but if approached, I would definitely be open, for sure. And I appreciate all the support. I do.
Yes. So I guess the takeaway is everyone write to DC.
That's right.
No, yeah, that's the takeaway. And you know what? You guys do have a voice nowadays. It's kind of been proven on a lot of different fronts.
Oh, absolutely. If you don't think that, I hear about things that happen on Twitter and social media from my bosses, and I feel like I'm pretty in touch. People pay attention to that stuff. The fans absolutely, positively have a voice.
Absolutely.
As they should.
Yes.
Hi, greetings from Montreal. I just wanted to let you know you have a big fan base out there in East End. It's always good to see a fellow Canadian on TV. So.
Thank you so much.
The other thing I wanted to ask you is I wanted to ask about your fitness routine. You have a great upper body as demonstrated. I was wondering if you have some
All right, workout tips.
Well, first, you have to be faced with the prospect of being shirtless in front of millions of people on television. You're welcome. It's a very particular and paralyzing type of fear. So that, in and of itself, works up your metabolism. Secondarily, I get to carry around an infant all the time. Good for arms. Really good for arms. And you know what, man? I've been doing yoga this year, a lot of yoga, a lot of power yoga. There's also the aspect of working like 14-hour days again and again and again and again, and doing physical stuff, fights and whatnot. And then I started working with a trainer again, and man, I just try my best. That's my best. I just try my best. I got myself in too good shape for the pilot though, and I couldn't keep it up. I had 6 weeks to prepare, and we had 4 weeks to shoot the pilot, and I've never been able to reach that level again.
Thank you. This is a question from Twitter.
Okay.
At Jackie says, what kind of archery training did you receive before the show, and how would you rate your skills now?
I'd rate my form very high.
Okay.
I'm very proud of my form. You never get to shoot an arrow. Sorry to pull the curtain a little bit too far back, maybe, but there is no safe way to shoot an arrow on a set. It doesn't exist. Guns, super safe. You can shoot blanks. You can add in a muzzle flash in post-production. Arrows, not so much. I mean, we have bows where the arrow is fastened, and then a lot of time I'm reaching back, I'm grabbing nothing, I'm knocking nothing, I'm pulling back nothing, and I'm releasing nothing, which puts your form at a premium, which is why that's the first thing that I mentioned. Patricia Gonsalves is our archery coach. If there is a bow on set, she is there. Doesn't matter who's using it, it's not just for me. And when I got to Vancouver, I was exhausted. I flew up that morning, and I had costume fittings and wig fittings and weird tattoos, scar stuff. And then I wanted to go home. I was so tired. And she sat me down, and I'm like, okay, well, this is fun. We're going to do archery. And she showed me a 45-minute video of all of the ways it has been done wrong in film and television.
The pressure.
And she said, you will not do that.
Not on her watch.
And I swear to God, it'll be 5 o'clock in the morning and I will be exhausted and the director will be trying to talk to me about something and all I'll hear is, Steven, get your elbow up! But I appreciate it. Sort of.
Let's go over here.
I saw the little, I guess, short, for lack of a better word, you did about that kid, and I thought that was a really neat thing, and I'd just like to hear more about what was the story behind that, what inspired that.
Well, everybody knows the Bat Kid story, right? In San Francisco, for anyone that doesn't, little boy with the Make-A-Wish Foundation, they essentially shut down San Francisco and let him be Batman for a day. And, this was something that, it took off on social media. And I started getting calls at 1 o'clock that day. Are you in the Arrow suit? Can you shoot something for Bat Kid? Can we do something? And I was on set with David Ramsey and Emily Better-Cars. It's like a typical, we're in the Arrow cave, shooting scenes. And we had our first assistant director in between scenes just point the camera and we riffed for 90 seconds, put the video on YouTube, and the rest was history. But very cool to be a part of that. A very, very small part, but cool that we were able to bring awareness to that cause. Hi.
My exercise question was stolen. I would like to ask about your makeup, your eye makeup. How long does that take to get on, and does it ever all come off? Because using makeup every day, I know that there's chunks left over.
Exactly right. Exactly. It doesn't take that long to put on. Now that I have the mask, spoiler alert, you'd think that there would be less, but it's exactly the same because you have to sort of darken the eyes. And there's a difference between getting the makeup off and getting it all the way off. It's like, I'll think it's all the way off, but we'll be taking it off at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'll wake up the next day and I'll look in the mirror and I'll be like, I look like Nestor Carbonell right now. I'm glad a lot of people got that joke. I met Nestor Carbonell a couple of weeks ago, and I'm still going to make the joke. But you got to be thorough with it because it gets all in your eyelashes and stuff like that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Great question. Yes.
So I have two questions for you. One, obviously, will I be back? That was the most exciting thing that's ever happened on Arrow.
That was pretty cool. I have a good story about that. So the reference is to in episode 16, there was a member of the Suicide Squad that didn't go out on the mission, but looked suspiciously like Harley Quinn. And I wasn't filming that scene. I had no idea that was the plan at all. And then a trailer for the show came out, and it showed her, and Twitter went crazy. And I got in touch with our executive producers, and I said, was that supposed to be Harley Quinn? And he said, you bet your ass that was. And we brought on Tara Strong to do the voice, which is amazing. That's really cool. So I hope you'll be back. I really do. I hope. And do some therapy sessions, whatnot.
Thank you. You look great, by the way.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hi, I was wondering if you'd ever consider doing stage work on Broadway or other stage work of any sort.
Long time since my high school days doing stage work. I did Macbeth. I did A Midsummer Night's Dream. I made Tony in West Side Story. That would go off way better in a theater crowd, I think. I don't know. I don't have a lot of time. We shoot the show from the beginning of July until the middle of April. And I'm going to do a movie during my hiatus this year, but it has been incredibly difficult to schedule it because I have a really, really small window. I love acting. I love being on the stage. Doing something like this reminds me of that because it's a similar type of experience. And when the time is right, I would love to. Thank you. And I'm jealous of Colin Donnell having done it, you know. It's on Broadway now, so yeah.
You'll have time eventually.
Yeah, hopefully.
With your acting and your character work, like before you came to Arrow, you were kind of known as a character, really a character actor, and a lot of different diverse roles. What's the difference between creating a character for you that you have to say goodbye to pretty soon versus like playing someone who for 45 episodes you play the same person?
Oh, this part is way more fun. I'm always incredibly impressed by guest stars because the job that they do is so hard. Grant Gustin comes in as Barry Allen in our 8th episode this year, and that's his episode. And he has the most dialogue, and essentially it's centered around him and his experience in Starling City. That's a way harder job than, you know, playing a character and being a part of a family and being comfortable. So I like the long tail because, you know, now we're seeing all of these different sides of Oliver. We get to take him on 2 separate simultaneous journeys, both on the island and in the present day. I mean, he was pretty sullen when he came back originally. And I like the fact that he's now, you know, certain events are about to transpire that will steal a little bit of his humorous side, but I like the fact that he's becoming, there's a little bit more levity to him. As far as guest stars go, you are just trying not to upset the apple cart. You know, you're just trying to go in there and keep your head down and do what you're told and say a good job and do a good job by saying your words properly. And yeah, I like being able to take a character on a journey like this.
Yeah. Yes.
Mr. Allen, how are you?
First of all, I love that.
Thank you.
My question, obviously, is about Flash. When he did come in, I read online that the show has a specific no power rule. But my question is, since you saw Barry Allen get his power, would they bring him back? And would they use his power in the show? Would they break that rule?
Well, when I sat down with the executive producers after the first season, they said, okay, so you know about that no power rule? Yeah, we're not going to stick with that anymore. I just saw Batman. That's pretty cool. Batman? Nice to make your acquaintance. You know, Barry getting struck by lightning and seeing little, you know, red thingamajigs, whatever you call those, zip up his head, whatever. That allows us to introduce Mirakuru, right? And that allows us to believe that superhuman soldiers are a part of our repertoire. And I like that because I like not having superpowers. I mean, I think that that's a really interesting, I think it's a really interesting place when you are playing a superhero. Because my favorite thing to do on the show is get my ass kicked. I love when that happens because it creates a real sense of peril, a real sense of danger. So as far as Barry coming back, he was originally, the Flash pilot was originally supposed to be the 20th episode of our season. They liked the Barry Allen character so much that they gave it its own pilot, which shifts it in our timeline a little bit, but Barry as the Flash, or some iteration greater than himself, greater than where we saw him in our show, exists in our universe. So you would hope that we would see him again. You right? You good?
Thank you.
Hello.
Nice.
Hello, Stephen. I want to let you know that you have not failed this city.
Thank you.
My question is similar to the Justice League question a little bit earlier. I was wondering if your Oliver Queen came in contact with Henry Cavill's Superman, how do you think that confrontation would go?
Kind of look at him for a second and say, so you're an alien, huh? That'd be pretty cool. I mean, Superman, I grew up on Superman. You know, I saw Superman 3, Superman 4 in the theaters. I remember being absolutely crushed by Superman Returns. Sorry. You know, I love Superman, and any chance to play with that character would be amazing. And I thought that he did a really good job. I thought that was a pretty cool movie, and you know, my hopes are high for Batman versus Superman.
Man of Steel, 9 out of 10. What do you think?
Not what? 9 out of 10?
For Man of Steel, yeah.
9 out of 10? It's good. 9 out of 10 is good.
I'll take that.
Okay, I give it an 8.
Okay.
Give it an 8. But I would have given Batman Begins an 8, and I would have given The Dark Knight a 10. So, good costume, man. Well done.
Yeah, you look great. Yes.
Hi. I'm a nurse. You stole my line. I was going to say you haven't left the city. That's great.
I miss saying that line. I do. I'm bugging the producers. We're hopefully going to find a way, one way or the other, to work it into the show before the end of our second season.
Perfect. I was going to say, so you're filming in Vancouver and sometimes on the island. Have you filmed at Hatley? That's a couple blocks from my house. You should come for lunch.
Okay. You know what? If it's an island day, I'm gonna need something like chicken noodle soup, or like chili, something warm, something that warms the cockles, so to speak.
Hot tub is good.
Perfect. All right.
What's your favorite part of filming in Vancouver, despite the rain? Did you get a chance to enjoy the city?
Well, I mean, you know, my favorite part is the crews in Vancouver are really lovely, and we were lucky enough to inherit a lot of the crew from Smallville. You know, these were guys that some of them worked 7 to 8, 9, 10 years on Smallville. And like Glenn Winter, who directs 3 episodes for us this year, is going to direct a bunch next year, and I think has done some of our seminal episodes. You know, he started shooting second unit inserts on season 1 of Smallville. And so we inherited just a totally well-oiled machine of a crew, and they're such a pleasure to work with. The second thing about Vancouver, awful weather looks wonderful on screen. Okay? Everybody in Seattle knows what I'm talking about. Okay? Rain, dreary, cloudy, looks fantastic. Sucks to film it. Looks fantastic. So I can't imagine, you know, because Starling City is, in the DC universe, it's sort of supposed to be Seattle, isn't it? Right? I mean, if Gotham is New York City and Metropolis is Chicago, I think Starling City is Seattle.
So, I have a little divergence from the show for a second. We have a Twitter question. I don't know if you have even heard this, but Christina says, what do you think about Anne Rice saying that she wants you to play Lestat if there's another Interview with the Vampire movie?
A couple of months ago, Anne Rice got like a head cold and watched the entire first season of Arrow. I posted about it on her Facebook page, and I'm seeing all these things. It's a wonderful compliment.
It's a wonderful compliment.
I mean, if there was one actor that I was to look up to, and you know, if I could pick one modern career to study, it'd be Tom Cruise, right? I love Tom Cruise. Anything Tom Cruise I will watch. That was a little bit of a tepid applause. I understand he hasn't really necessarily acquitted himself in the comic book genre, so that's allowed, but he's my guy, okay?
Take ownership. I love it.
Thank you. And he played Lestat, right? So that'd be pretty cool. I worry that maybe the vampire trend is starting to peter out a tiny bit, but who knows? Who knows? We'll see.
Being overtaken by zombies at the moment.
It is being overtaken. We need a,
It's not a bad thing. Yes, let's go over here.
So I love all the exercise and workout montages we get there. Oh, they're wonderful, especially the bar chin-up lift thingy. How much of that?
So it's called the salmon ladder. And there was a guy that came for an autograph today and he goes, man, the fish ladder, it's amazing. Close enough.
How much of the workout montages are you actually doing the workouts, especially the salmon ladder? Are you
The
really
workout
doing
montages are 100% me. 100%. I actually, every once in a while, they'll want it not to be me, and so my workaround there is I go, well, I'm gonna do it shirtless because they can't use because they have a stunt double but not a body double, right? Because how could they? But anyway, that's my workaround. So those workout montages they're all me.
That's awesome. That's
Thank you.
amazing.
Thank you.
Yes.
And a question. First statement is, I've also been stranded on a desert island. And the second question goes back to the superpowers being in the show. Is there any inkling that Black Canary is actually going to do a bird song versus the machine?
I thought the machine was a good compromise, right? In a way to sort of make it happen in the Arrow universe. But as the Arrow universe changes, that would be a pretty cool thing. I mean, I know I learned a lot about Green Arrow once I got the part for obvious reasons, but people love Black Canary. They really love that character. And certainly more than Tom Cruise. And that'd be awesome. You know, like there's so much space to move more towards the iconic places of the character. You know what I mean? Like whether it be Ollie having the goatee, which is the question that I get all the time, or the canary cry existing. As we move more and more into the show, and we get more and more of a license with our fans and with our viewers, you can start to see more of that stuff.
Thank you. So, other than shutting up and listening to the pilot director, what was the process like approaching such an iconic character? Did you? I mean, I'm sure you're familiar with the world, but to immerse yourself and to actually bring him to life on screen, what did you do?
Well, after the pilot, I read a ton of Green Arrow stuff. I mean, I read, we based, at least the pilot, a large part of it on Green Arrow Year One. And then, I read a lot of Mike Grell stuff. I read the Longbow Hunters, and I just made sure that if there was anything in the script that looked familiar, or if there was any peculiar name that sounded like a comic book name, that I asked.
Right.
And that way, you don't want to be too measured and look like you're sort of telegraphing something, but at the same time, you want to know what's out there in the world and what exists in the universe. And but concurrently, you can't do an impersonation of previous iterations of the character. I mean, Justin Hartley did a fantastic job as Green Arrow, but Smallville, we got questions about Smallville comparisons until people had seen like 2 episodes of the show.
Right.
And then those stopped. Right. And I think that Grant and all the people that are doing the Flash pilot will get questions about their connection to Arrow until you see like 2 episodes of the Flash, because it is fundamentally a different show.
Right.
And so yeah, you want to make it your own. It's all about making it your own and just feeling confident, trusting people, then you're good.
Good answer. Yes.
What's up? Hey, I wanted to know if you're gonna do more trick arrows. I'm waiting for that boxing glove at some point.
Everybody is.
And I'm actually a little bit curious about seeing our friend Roy Rage in a Speedy costume, if that's gonna happen relatively soon.
Arsenal.
Or Red Arrow.
Or Red Arrow, or Art. You know, I know that a lot of thought has been given to that. I know that one of our executive producers, especially Andrew Kreisberg, he loves that stuff. And I know, I'm pretty confident that like after every draft of a script that he'll get from the writer's room, he'll just kind of look at them and go, no boxing glove arrow this time.
I'll settle for
failure. And then, listen, I want superhero costumes on the show. I want Roy in a costume. I want Diggle in a costume.
Yes!
Felicity in a costume. I want everybody in a costume, okay? I want Laurel in a costume. Like, I want everybody should have a costume. Let's just all get it out in the open. But I hope more of that happens soon. But you know what? We introduced a new superhero in episode 1 of season 2. And I think there are rumblings of making that somewhat of a tradition.
See you at the photo op. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Hi, I had a question actually about the Felicity Oliver relationship. How do you feel about that? I feel like Felicity gets led on a lot, honestly. And then are you
funny meme on the internet where she's crying? She's like, "You kiss all the girls but me."
What do you have to say about this?
I learned, this is sort of a long-winded answer, which is my specialty. I learned a great deal about dealing with co-stars and trying to make them comfortable from Amy Brenneman, who I worked with on Private Practice. Who, by the way, was a love interest for Tom Welling before he got Smallville. It's very, very strange. She's convinced that working with her births superheroes.
Good point.
She was so wonderful to me on Private Practice, and so accepting, and was so personal with me so immediately that it made my job so easy. Emily was the first guest star that I worked with on Arrow. And I remember wanting to make that experience for her exactly like my experience was with Amy on Private Practice. So for that reason, and because Emily is just such a wonderful young woman, very special place in my heart for that character and for that actor. So I really hope that, I'm a fan of television shows, and I don't like things set up that aren't paid off. So I would hope that anything that we set up on the show, we would pay off.
Unfortunately, we have time for one more question.
Hi. I'm good. I'm sorry that I can't answer faster.
Okay, so I have a quick question then. If you could not be Arrow, but you could be any other superhero, boy or girl, what would you choose?
Why just superheroes? Why not villains? All right, one other superhero. I'm gonna go with Lobo. As a kid, I loved Lobo. I was way too young to read it. And for villain, I'd say the Riddler.
Thank you. That was a great one to end on. All right, Stephen, thank you so much.
Hey guys,